Okay, so welcome to session 3. We'll be looking at ways to collect and use really good energy data in this session. Session 3 is a really simple one. First, we're going to look at simple, easy ways to collect good data using fuel meters, electricity meters, and logbooks. Then we'll look at how you can go about understanding that data a bit better using benchmarking and different financial modeling tools. And finally, we'll look at good ways to plan with that data and inform your energy efficiency decisions in the future. Let's go. So monitoring can be as simple as installing a fuel meter and using a logbook through to automatic pump sensors, which have chips built into the nozzles of the pump, which will register when you put it into a certain machine and send that back to a centralized computer system. I mean, really, in terms of thinking about monitoring and where you want to sit on the spectrum, you really need to look at cost. How much do I want to spend on this? What kind of time and effort do I want to spend monitoring? And more importantly, how accurate do I want my data, as this will really affect the investment decisions you make. In your workbooks, you'll find some really simple step-by-step approaches to monitoring diesel, ULP, and electrical use. Take some time now to pause the video and read through those, as they're really important. So the approaches you've just looked at are the simplest ways to go about monitoring. However, there are other options you can take advantage of. Flow meters are really useful. Onboard computers in a lot of new machinery is great. And farm fuel calculators are provided by some manufacturers. The Department of Agriculture in WA also has one. In choosing a fuel meter to measure your diesel, you can see there are a number of aspects you need to take into account. Really, the major one is what kind of flow rate in litres per minute do you need. You don't want that meter slowing down your operation. Let's have a look at a few examples, costed, of some fuel meters I've found online. Okay, so as you can see, the inline electronic fuel meter has quite a high flow rate and it is really accurate given its electronic display. This would be a great fuel meter for an overhead tank. The high flow diesel meter is a bit more expensive, but it is a more durable unit. You can see it also has a high level of flow rate. This one's got the total litres down the bottom, which is also great for those missing logbook entries. This meter is an example of a pump and meter package, which is great if you don't have an existing pump. As you can see, at $1,250, it's great value. It does have a lower flow rate though. This is another example of a pump and meter package. This is great for fuel drums if you're using them at different locations around the farm. The fuel management and control system is an example of one of those automatic sensor systems. They can be really useful where you've got a lot of different operations fueling up at the same time, though the capital outlay can be prohibitive. Electricity meters are incredibly easy to use and really inexpensive. I found this one for under $100 on eBay. They're great for testing how much electricity is being used in workshops, horticultural packing sheds, or even just a homestead as a great place to start your energy management. This unit is wired into the meter box. You then carry around the screen in the palm of your hand, flicking on and off switches to see the drop in kilowatt hours and deciding on which appliances or operations you'll target first. Take some time to pause the video, have a look in your workbook. There's a huge deal of information on electricity tariffs and how you can reduce the amount you pay for your electricity. On screen now, and in your workbooks, you'll see tips for better monitoring. These have been issues raised by different workshop participants in the face-to-face workshops. One issue there is having multiple tanks on farm and not being able to keep track of where diesel goes. In that case, your options would be to rationalize the tanks where possible, use multiple meters on different tanks and trailers. You could use fuel trailers and attribute them to each operation if, say, harvesting is a huge operation at that time of year, or, if need be, move to an automated system if the capital cost isn't prohibitive. Another issue in there is staff apathy, which we'll touch on in a moment. Pause the video, take some time to have a look through these tips for better monitoring, as they are issues that have been raised by people, and we've done our best to come up with solutions. As I just mentioned, staff apathy is a major hurdle for people in monitoring their energy use. In terms of getting people on board, it's really important to appoint someone as the energy manager for the farm, someone that's going to be really accountable for making sure energy is monitored, understood, and planned with that data. That person needs to determine the required resources to get monitoring in place, and most importantly, lead that change with behaviours, symbols, and systems. Spend some time reading through this slide, as this is really important stuff for getting people on board with energy monitoring. Once you've collected really good energy data, the next step is understanding that data. In your workbooks, you'll see a step-by-step guide on how to benchmark your data with other farmers in your region. Benchmarking is a really important first step to understanding that data you've collected and making some decisions on where to change in your operation. Throughout the workshop, we've talked about the different levels of energy data that you need to audit your business. Level 1 is where a lot of West Australian farmers are at, in that they can tell their total energy consumption divided by their arable hectares. For instance, 26 litres of diesel per hectare. Level 2 is the level you really want to get to, in that it allows you to start making good decisions about which operations to target on your farm. Level 2 is about having an understanding of the energy consumed per operation on your farm. In understanding your data that you collect, there's lots of technology coming on board now through the use of smartphones that can really help you analyze energy use on your farm. The two I've pulled up on screen now are found in the iTunes store, just searching fuel calculators or fuel monitoring. We'll keep you in the loop if we find any others. The final step in monitoring is to start planning with the energy data that you've been collecting. This is critical in energy management, as you won't save any energy or cost until you actually start planning and implementing projects. On screen and in your workbooks, we've got there a simple step-by-step guide for developing an energy plan. At the same time, we've been encouraging you throughout the workshop to fill out your energy plan, linked to some of the options in the ideas warehouse. This is really important. It's not till you put it down on paper that you go ahead and start doing this stuff. Okay, so the key messages from session 3 on monitoring are that a fuel meter or an electricity meter and a logbook will get you to a level 2 audit. Level 2 is really the level of data that you need to start taking advantage of the financial modelling tools, start making better investment decisions, and get a really good understanding of where the energy is being used in different operations on your farm. And finally, another key message is really to communicate the need for better monitoring through an energy plan. So, as an incentive for you to get to that level 2 data, we've included a simple logbook template in your energy plans. Keep it by the bowser or in the packing shed, install the relevant fuel or electricity meters, and start monitoring. This is a critical first step to better energy management. Okay, time for a workshop session for session 3. I want you to turn to page 5 of your energy plan and take some time to think about your farming operation and what you will do to start monitoring energy use on farm. Are there different tanks you need to monitor, different packing sheds? Which operations will you target to get to a level 2? Spend some time thinking about that and then complete the table on page 5. Thank you for taking part in session 3, Simple Approaches to Monitoring. Your next session is the next step session, which is the final part of the online workshop.